Okay, so today we're going to look at a topic in algebra, function composition. Okay, and actually this topic is really not as complicated as it may seem. So let's start off with a real life example. So suppose I go to Baskin-Robbins and I buy a sundae. And suppose the sundae costs $5. Now, I'm going to do two things to that $5. First, I decide, you know what, I want extra toppings. So, to the $5, I'm getting extra toppings, so let's add another $2. So, I'm now up to $7. Now, the last thing that has to be done before I pay is we have to compute the sales tax. So suppose the tax on $7 was at 10%. So the tax would be 70 cents. And my grand total would be $7.70. So again, I started with $5 to purchase the sundae. Then I added $2 because I want more toppings. And then we have to compute the tax. So we went through a series of steps here to compute the price of the sundae. So now let's look at this in terms of algebra. So suppose right here, okay, I have a box, and this box is going to be called f for a function f. Now, the input into the box, that is our x. In this case, it is $5. Now, what does f, the function, do? Well, the very first thing we did is we added more toppings. So right here, we're going to add the cost of the additional toppings. So that's what function f is going to do. Now, what comes out of function f? Well, in this case, $2 was the cost of the additional toppings. So the output of function f is our cost so far, $7. We have to do one more thing. We have to compute tax. So now, the output of f was the $7. But that is now going to be the input into function g. And what does g do? It computes the tax. All right. And what comes out of g? It is the $7 that went in plus the tax of 70 cents. And so what comes out of g is our final cost, $7.70. Okay, so let's think of this. Let's take this example. So suppose function f of x. So what is it doing? It's adding $2 for the toppings. So f of x is x plus 2. Now, let's look at function g. What is g doing? It's taking the cost and adding 10% to it. So it's taking its input, x, plus it's adding the tax, 0.10x. So this becomes 1.1x. Now, how could we do in algebra what we did here for the sundae? Okay, so what we're going to do first is, we're going to look at something, g circle f of x. So this is a little circle here. It does not mean multiplication, okay? This means g of f of x. So again, this is function composition. And what this means right here is g of f of x. Now, how do we compute this? Okay. Well, the first thing is we don't go left to right, we go right to left, the opposite of what we do when we read. Okay, so in this case, okay, we start with x. Now, go over to the left one. F of x. What is f of x? X plus 2. That is now the input into g. So we have g of x plus 2. Now, what does g do with its input? It multiplies it by 1.1 times the x plus 2. Okay, so this gives us 1.1x plus 2.2. So let's look at this. So if we have g circle f of 5, okay, so we can do this two ways. One, if x is 5, this becomes $5.50 plus $2.20, and yes, it matches $70.70 right here if the x is 5. But we could do this another way. This means g of f of 5. Okay, so start, and we go right to left. We have the 5, f. What does f do with the 5? It adds 2 to it. So now, the f of 5 is 7, g of 7. And what does g do to the number? It multiplies by 1.1, and that is $7.70.